What is going on, guys? Naeem Alabeidi here. Hope you're all enjoying your day today. I'm here with Brenton Walker, one of our technical analysts here at Traders Profit Club. We're going to be going over Bitcoin, Ripple, Ethereum price predictions, and going over some headlines in the news, including Binance coming into competition with Coinbase, Cryptopia being hacked, as well as Ripple. Once again, I know you guys hear Ripple a lot, but they are now making more partnerships. Let's talk about the fundamental analysis and then dive into our Bitcoin analysis. Because as you can see here, by the way, on this 4-hour chart with Bitcoin, we're starting to see this MACD fast length in this blue curve up, which is a possibility of some buyers coming to the market. But we're going to talk about why there's a lot of manipulation in this market right now and where things are headed. And by the way, if you guys aren't part of our premium group on Discord, we've been killing it with signals. I'm going to show you guys really quick here. We've had 8 take profit signals, 25%, as you can see, 11% take profit. We've had some awesome altcoin trades over the past few days. And if you guys are not getting our signals, make sure you guys join our Patreon. The link is in the description below. It looks like this. You can get in and you can try it for just a month and see how you'll make your investment back right away. As you guys can see as well with Forex, we've been killing it even more. You can see tons of take profits here. I think we've had 2 stop losses hit with our crypto signals in the past week, and I think we've had about 3 or 4 stop losses hit with our Forex signals in the past week, but we've had over a dozen hit take profit. If you actually go into our crypto chat, you can see some of our members here taking advantage of this. You can see here tons of people. EVX just hit profit. Great call, Naeem. If you go up, you can see straight up you've been killing it, Naeem. Thanks for all of your hard work. You're the only one keeping this bear market from boring us away. And like I said, this bear market doesn't have to be boring. So make sure you guys join our Discord if you're not already in there. We've been killing it with signals. Let's go ahead and dive into our price predictions with Brenton Walker. By the way, his channel is in the link below, so sign or subscribe to Brenton Walker as well as we go through our technical analysis. But let's just first dive into Bitcoin's technical analysis before we go into anything. Make sure to like this video if you guys haven't already. I'm going to be speaking in San Diego tomorrow at the Epic Mastermind, and we're also going to be throwing a mastermind in LA February 22nd. I'll be giving you guys more details on that. But like the video, it shows a ton of support. It helps us out a lot. But first and foremost, I'm going to start with my technical analysis here with Bitcoin, and then we can have Brenton Walker go into it. I recently just posted a long signal for Bitcoin, and this is in coordination with what I'm seeing here on the 4-hour chart, because as you can see with this fast link, we're starting to curve, and this blue line is extremely important because as soon as that blue line crosses over with that orange line, which is a slow length, that is called a MACD crossover, which is an extremely bullish move, especially on a 4-hour chart. But here's the problem. I'm sorry, this is the 1-day chart, which is even more of a powerful chart. But if we go to our 4-hour chart, you're seeing the exact same thing here. We're starting to see the MACD starting to curve up, and that, in my opinion, is extremely positive. But here's the issue, in my opinion, with everything. It's something we've talked about over the past couple of months, and that's the volume of sellers in this market. Once again, this market is extremely manipulated right now. You know, I've had the chance over the past couple of weeks to trade the Forex markets, which is way more consistent because there's so much more volume in that market, and it's so much more predictable than the market that we're seeing here with Bitcoin, just because of the fact that we're seeing all of these manipulated trades. If you guys see those 1,000 or 2,000 Bitcoin sell or buy orders on these exchanges, those are all to cover spots on these leveraged exchanges, and that's how a lot of people are making a ton of money. You can see Brenton nodding his head, and so that's exactly what I want you guys to start watching out for, and that's why it's super important to stay up to date with our signals, because this market is constantly changing. Now, one other thing I want you guys to look at is that we have this EMA here, and we're still below this exponential moving average, and that's that blue line right over here. And until we can rise above that EMA, in my opinion, we are not confirming any long positions with Bitcoin, and that's why we set our entry point a little bit higher than where current price levels are at, because we do not want to confirm this long position until we are above that EMA. But the other cool thing that I'm starting to see right now with Bitcoin's technical analysis is this RSI. We're seeing this positive divergence. We're seeing this ascending support level, and that's extremely positive as well, at least for the short term for Bitcoin. And we're going to have Brenton Walker talk a little bit about his technical analysis. I see we have a ton of people on live as well. Johnny, Lawrence, Julian, Steven, Chad, Lawrence, Travis, Zane, And I appreciate, by the way, each and every one of you guys on live streams. We're going to be taking some questions from you guys in just a second. But here's the overall analysis, in my opinion, with Bitcoin. We need to make sure that we are going to confirm this bullish move above this EMA before predicting any sort of long position. But at the end of the day, understand that the sellers have control of this market because they have the volume to take the market down when they'd like. And that's something I want you to talk a little bit about, Brent. If you could talk a little bit about sellers in this market, I'm going to actually pull up your screen here so people can kind of see a little bit of your analysis here with Bitcoin and taking your approach of what's going on. What's your opinion on what's happening right now with the market, Brian?
Sure, yeah. Thanks, Naeem. I really appreciate it. So a lot of the sellers are taking over the market right now, as you said. And what happens is that when the sellers take over the market, that you have a lot of drawdown for a lot of traders that are looking to go long, but they don't really essentially have a really reason to go long just yet. So that's what consolidation happens. So what happens is that consolidation breaks into an area where then it probably goes around for a couple days just to consolidate price and have the liquidation phase, where then a lot of people that had a lot of profit or already made a lot of money on that trend, they already taking profit, which then gives leeway for a lot of buyers to move the market to the upside. But like you said, we're waiting for that confirmation to go to the upside just yet to retest these levels at 4,000. Just because previous structure loves to retest, we've seen it over and over again in all different markets. But at the same time, we also have to take in consideration the market is still being taken over by the bear market. And this could definitely still be a momentum to the downside where we might see a test to 3,500. And if we do see that support at 3,500 and see consistency with the consolidation to move to the upside, that's when we possibly might be taking a bullish momentum or a bullish trade. But like you said, be very careful on this. You don't want to get into the market when there is a huge drawdown or the market pressure is still to the downside, where then you could still have a lot of hit to your stop losses. So be very, very compatible and also be very understanding that the price could take a downturn, as well as being able to make into consideration, be optimistic for that breakout to the upside as well.
100%. I see here on the live chat, Travis says, "Nice hat, Brandon," or Brenton. He said Brandon,
Thanks.
but his name is Brenton, just so you guys know. Travis says, "How much money do you suggest to trade with to make enough to pay for membership?" I would say, starting an account with even $100 or $1,000, we've had members profit within weeks just because of the fact that we are posting all of our entry points, our stop losses, and our targets. Lawrence says, "Before I forget, awesome signals this week, Naeem." Thank you so much, Lawrence. So I want to go ahead and dive into our XRP technical analysis. Now that we've covered a little bit of Bitcoin, I want to cover Ripple because I'm going to go into this headline here. You can see here, the first bank using XRP says that the Ripple partnership will create a new era of innovative payment solutions. And we're going to go a little bit into this article. I'm not going to go too much into this, but once again, what we're trying to see is which coins and specifically altcoins are going to be here in the long term. And once again, Ripple is really the only coin, in my opinion, actually making moves towards having some sort of mass adoption. You can see here, the first bank to use XRP powered system payment solution, XRP, is touting its new partnership with Ripple. And the reason being is, you can see here, it says that increases processing speed, reduce costs, and enhancing transparency and security. Reminds me of back in the day when internet was out, and websites became present, in which companies started creating domains, starting to explore with the internet, and they started to realize how much more efficient it was to have an online front instead of having a brick and mortar, front in terms of their business. And it's the same thing that we're seeing here with banks. They're realizing the efficiency of utilizing digital currencies like Ripple in order to utilize their transfer of payments internationally. You can see here, it says, "Working collaboratively with Ripple, we look forward to the benefits these will bring to our customers." So once we take a look at the XRP technical analysis, it's right in conjunction with the fundamentals that we're seeing. We're seeing this ascending support line once again here with Ripple. And one thing I want you guys to realize here is we are starting to drop down to these support levels in regards to the RSI, which could be a very bullish move for Ripple. So I would be watching Ripple over the next couple of days, being the fact that, once again, if you are holding cryptocurrencies right now, it might be more profitable to hold an altcoin like Ripple than it would be to hold something like Bitcoin. And talking about holding, by the way, this video is going to be sponsored here by bitcoingear.com. The link is also in the description below. They actually sent me this hard wallet, this Trezor hard wallet that I have here with me, and it's been an awesome time utilizing this. Once again, I do have my long-term holds that I just keep just because I want to be in support of this market long-term. And if you guys want any sort of Bitcoin Bitcoin products, make sure to check out Bitcoin Gear. It's an awesome website. They've got a ton of clothing, merchandise, as well as the hardware wallets. But once again, let's go ahead and dive into this XRP technical analysis and talk about where we're starting to head in terms of Satoshi value. We're currently right around that 88,800 Satoshi value, approaching this known support level of Ripple's Satoshi value. And once again, I am expecting a possible bullish move here with Ripple in regards to Satoshi value. If you look at this MACD, we're starting to lose seller momentum. You can see here the sellers get less and less, and we haven't seen much buyers come in yet. But once again, the opportunity in the market is to see the opportunity before it comes, right, Brenton? So in my opinion, the buyers are now going to start watching Ripple, knowing the fact that we're starting to see this lower elevation of sellers in the market regarding the MACD. And then once again, we're seeing the fundamental analysis of Ripple positive in the majority of headlines in the news, and those are all positive things for an altcoin like Ripple, because once again, 95% of the altcoins, in my opinion, are not going to be around 5 to 10 years from now. So you need to make sure you understand which altcoins are going to be here. You can see here, Travis says, my bad, Brenton, I didn't have my good ears on. Thanks for the info, bro. Steven says, Naeem is the SHIT for grandfathering us in. Travis says, what are your thoughts, guys, on autonomous trade bots? Well, you know, understand many people have different styles of trading. We've had analysts on our team that utilize AI, reinforced learning algorithms that they actually have to make human predictions with. And that was, you know, for example, Raphael's that tracked fractal patterns. And then, you know, I've had other analysts that have utilized fully automated bots with reinforced learning and have made 300+% returns in the past 12 months. And all of these are actually tools that I'm exploring to add to our Traders Profit Club, you know, members. And so that's why I told you guys from the beginning of this video, definitely get in, take advantage of our signals. I promise you won't regret it. But once again, in my opinion, we're starting to see a little bit of a bullish momentum here for Ripple, more than any other altcoin that I've seen. And we've seen some other altcoins like Tron make some significant moves as well over the past few weeks. But once again, I like the fact that Ripple actually has the fundamentals to back it. And you can see here with Tron, RSI still looks a little bit high. You can see even here with the MACD, we've had way too much buyers, not enough sellers, and it's completely overstretched. So that's why my focus right now is on XRP BTC. So let's go ahead and move on to the Ethereum technical analysis here. I see you actually have a Bitcoin chart open. Brandon, do you want to talk a little bit about what you have open right now on your chart?
Sure, yes. I can actually go to Ethereum if you like. So my Ethereum chart is specifically going for intraday trading strategy, or about a 2-day hold. So what I see with Ethereum is that price consolidation has been showing a nice area for about a couple days now, where we can see that there's been another area where price has definitely been showing a lot of trap, where we see the wicks here with formations being driven to the downside, but then not being able to close lower. And every single time it goes to the down, it usually comes back up to break to the upside one more time. So what I want to see where price move forward now, just because we can see the MACD is showing a little lower, we want to see an upside momentum where then we could probably break that 130 and then move up to higher levels after we see consolidation retest this level, which is between 130 and 135, where we saw that break area, where we saw a lot of these areas where they had a lot of wicks and they had a lot of formations where price wasn't able to break. That's the reason why price was driven down, to really consolidate, to build a lot of pressure before they do break out to the upside. So what I want to see is that I'm going to move to the 1 hour chart to show you guys exactly what I mean on a higher time frame, is that what price now is showing, that with the 50 moving average being really close to where price is, if we see a nice bullish breakout from the upside and we see the market continually showing a lot of support from these angular support areas, we're definitely going to see a nice breakout to the upside and then a retest to this previous structure high where it had a hard time breaking. And then that's where we will be probably seeing some areas retest this level between 165 and 155, between that area, to consolidate price as it did before we see a retrace back to the downside, as we can know that the market loves to break and retest certain areas. So this can be barely an interval, or we like to say an interval in price, where price wanted to just connect and see if this area was a sustainable area. And then we had underjustified optimism, or excuse me, underjustified pessimism. So we're going to go back into an understanding that price needs to go up a little higher, where then price will then probably retrace to the downside. As we said before, if we go to the 4 hour chart, we're still in a downwards momentum, and we don't want to go against the trend. We're just trying to make a nice trend reversal prediction at this area. But for the long term, we don't want to go too long because, as you said earlier, Naeem, the momentum to the upside is still very, very low. So we want to be able to still go short.
Talking about bullish breakouts, we just got a message on our Discord here, Cheyenne. That CDT call, though, quickest 5% of my life. Thanks, homie. I'm telling you guys, if you're not in our premium group, get in. We are taking advantage of all of the signals we have, and we can make this bear market enjoyable for you guys. Let's go ahead and move on to another headline here. Thank you so much, Brent. You've been on point with your analysis. If you guys have not subscribed to Brenton's YouTube channel, the link is in the description below. Just start watching Brent's live streams and understanding his philosophy, and I guarantee you it's going to blow your mind. You can see here, crypto hits the mainstream. Shoppers can now buy Bitcoin at U.S. supermarkets. Why am I showing you guys this article? Because of the fact that we have all of these major companies involved in this article, and this is a huge deal because, once again, what we need to see with Bitcoin is mass adoption. If we were to go into this article, you can see here it says Coinstar is a brand name across the U.S. with this ubiquitous kiosk processing 43 billion coins annually. 90% of all U.S. residents live within 5 miles of a kiosk. The partnership with CoinMe allows the kiosks to be enabled for Bitcoin transactions. See, I got into cryptocurrency almost a decade ago. I would say half a decade ago, I'm sorry. And back then, there was no Bitcoin ATMs around. It was impossible to obtain Bitcoin. It was extremely hard. And now that we're starting to see more mass adoption, that's going to be a lot more of some optimism for this market because, once again, 2018 was quite a hit. So we're going to keep track and see what's going to happen. And once again, we want to see fully, we want to see volume come into this market. And the only way for that to happen is for more people to have access to the cryptocurrency market. Once again, let's go ahead into this other headline. Binance launches a fiat exchange, allowing you to go ahead and buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum with pounds and euros. Why is that significant? Well, once again, Binance is making the majority of the moves in this market right now. It's one of the largest and most profitable exchanges in the market. And if you were to ask me, in my opinion, whether or not there's going to be an exchange that's going to triumph over the next couple of years, in my opinion, that's going to be Binance. Once again, they were first to market. They were the ones that had the best technology, allowing you to, liquidate your micro coins and things like that. And so, in my opinion, having Binance moving into these fiat transactions is a huge deal because now they're going to go in direct competition with Coinbase. Our next article here about Cryptopia exchange being hacked. Cryptopia is an exchange that I've used before to purchase coins like Electronium. I've had some funds in this exchange before, but it was always a small exchange. And I want you guys to once again be aware that this is an early market, and you have to be careful in this market and not have your blinders off because once again, this market is extremely dangerous, and especially with these digital transactions, you have to be extremely careful with where you put your money. So we're gonna take some live questions from our audience before we end this stream. Steven says, correction, Naeem is the man for grandfathering us. LOL, got your back, bro. Thank you. Travis says, I've been using Drople's bot. Cool, man. Thanks for your insight on it. Absolutely. Travis says, would you consider 6% gain for the month good? I can't read charts yet too good, but interested in the signals. Well, once again, our signals are available. The link is in the description below through our Patreon. You can take advantage of those. Travis says, I'm going to subscribe now, Brenton. Good info, man. Awesome. Shaw A says, Cardano, your thoughts? We can definitely take a look at Cardano, see what's going on. I wouldn't mind taking a request here, but we do have a super chat request here for Ethos, and I want to pull up this chart here. One of our guys here, Nate Sandoval, just donated $1.99 for us to do this technical analysis. And looking at this chart, we're seeing this huge spike in volume. RSI is completely overbought right now. Does that mean it's a negative thing? Not necessarily. We're heading towards these known support levels. So once again, if I were looking at this chart, I would say understand why it's seeing this surge in volume, because this is extremely abnormal. And the only reason this would occur is, number one, manipulation, or number two, some sort of fundamental reason. So once again, I can't go into the fundamental research right now. It takes a little bit more time. But what I would say is, if you do see a spike in volume like that could certainly determine a possible reversal and a possible uptrend. So hopefully that helps you out a little bit, Nate. Let's see if we have any other questions here. Justin Janae says, spot on aim. Need to go on to Brenton's streams. Absolutely. Steven says, I had multiple coins hacked a while back. I'm telling you guys, you have to be careful in this market. It's an extremely early market, and we're still in the early phases. If we were to go to CoinMarketCap right now and check out the majority of where this market is headed right now, you can for the most part, see that we're in a consolidation phase right now, but this market is continuously seeing extreme amounts of volatility. And in my opinion, the opportunity in this market is not just in holding the coins for their quote-unquote technological long-term intrinsic value, but it's more in the fact that you can trade the day-to-day volatility, and you see these negative 2%, negative 3%, negative percent. These are all opportunities for you to make money and put that in your pocket so you can go ahead and invest in coins that you like. So you can see here, XRP number 2 taking Ethereum's position. That's a pretty big deal. Look at that. XRP is now the second largest cryptocurrency. So it goes right in line with our fundamental analysis that we just talked about. XRP is actually making moves in the mass market. You know, Ethereum is doing really well when it comes to the cryptocurrency niche, right? They've got a ton of these D applications being built on Ethereum, but you can see with XRP, they're targeting a mass market. You know, one of my mentors, Don Valentine, early founder of Sequoia Capital, once said that if you want to make the most money, target the largest market, because you have the opportunity to target more people. So once again, XRP is looking extremely bullish for those of you looking for some long-term holds. And let's go ahead and see if we have any thought-provoking questions before we end this stream. But hopefully you guys enjoyed a couple of those analysis here. We can see here Stafford family says, do we need to still hang on to BAT? I post all the trade alerts and trade updates on the Crypto Signals channel, so just stay up to date there. Metal Meltdown says, Ethos released their fiat crypto a couple of days ago. Thought about buying, but didn't think it would go high. Missed out on nearly 3 times my money. Well, once again, if they are releasing fiat to crypto, that's not, you know, a reason for a coin to just soar to the moon, because there's other coins that have fiat to crypto exchanges. So don't get caught in the hype. That's what I want you guys to understand. Don't get caught in the hype, because if you get caught in the hype, once again, you will regret it, because people will take advantage of you. That's the reason they do things like that. You know, there are companies, once again, I advise over half a dozen companies in the blockchain space, and I'll tell you right now, some of these companies aren't afraid to go ahead and put out a press article just to raise the price of their coin. And once again, I wouldn't work with a company like that, and that's why I've had opportunities to advise dozens of blockchain startups, but I've chose a select few because I want the ones that have ethics and values and integrity. So you can still see here, Zane says, appeal to the masses, live with the classes. I love it. Steven says, thank God I only had an extremely small amount of value I'd keep in their exchange. Absolutely. Ernie says, thoughts on Verge. XVG, is it dead even with Pornhub announcement, or is it following BTC? I would be extremely careful with these altcoins. Once again, we can pull up the XVG chart here and just do a quick glance at it. But in my opinion, you want to stay focused on these major coins right now, especially in a bear market, because we're taking advantage of the day-to-day volatility of this market. See, we've got tons of traders making tons of money in this market right now. So January till now doesn't have to be a bear market for you. You can take advantage of these short positions that we post. So once again, that in my opinion is important. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit more about your analysis here, Brandon, and talk a little bit about what you want to go ahead and talk about.
Sure, yeah. So moving forward with you guys, yeah, just like you said, Naeem, we're definitely in a bear market right now, and all we're looking for is some reversals, you know. And the reason why we're looking only for reversals and not looking to hold positions for a long time is because the momentum is so, the strength of the downside is so much. So we don't be caught up into trades that we know that could be the wicks or any type of breakout, and a lot of stop hunts, which we talked about, or which you talked about earlier with market manipulation. And what happens with market manipulation is definitely with crypto in general, because it's a lower volatility market than it is with Forex. It has a different perspective, and you have to have a different perspective on it, because the way that it happens is that price can have these huge spikes to the upside, and then it will retrace within hours and not days. And because of these hours and these wicks, you have to keep into consideration that price will then retrace to the downside or the upside. So that's why we're not looking to go into really high or holding our positions for very long. We're trying to do intraday trading when we're doing those reversals, in my opinion. And then when we're looking for those long-term trades, we're trying to find those breakdowns where prices hasn't been able to test that area for a long time. So we want to see MACD low, and we want to look for a longer time frame. So the longer the daily chart than if we did at the hourly chart. So that being said, I want to show you guys a position that I am looking to take in the near future with Bitcoin, and show you exactly why I'm looking to go into that position. So as we can see, consolidation has been going from that previous high, which is 4,000, where we saw that huge I call it a market zone shift. So what happens is that the market makers or the heavy investors that are in Bitcoin, they shift the market price zone. What happens is that they build up liquidity in one area of the market where we can see that price was then built up in that 4,000 range where we saw the spikes at the high, and that was inducing a lot of traders to go longer. And then after that, they trap the buyers into the market, and then they shift the zone to take a lot of people's stop losses out, because if we looked at previous structure, it took a while for a lot of traders to go long, and then it took a very short amount of time for price to go backwards. And that's what market manipulation is. It's essentially when price is having an induced factor psychologically and getting people really FOMOing, fearing and missing out, because it's taking a lot of time for price to reach an area. That's what gives a lot of people a lot of time to sell and buy into areas. And then once they have enough liquidity in one area, they'll shift the zone into an opposite direction to hit those stop losses. And the things that we're seeing right here is the same thing we saw previously, where we see the consolidation being built up at that 4,000 level. We can see consolidation built up at this 3,600 area to 3,500 area, where then we see the wicks to the downside, but they keep on breaking above because we know that there's a lot of take profits under that area. So what they want to do is they'll make a divergence. They'll come out with fundamental news and to stimulate price to then retrace the test previous highs to basically even out their books or even out the algorithm that the market is played on. And then essentially price will then move to a opposite direction or move to an area that we haven't seen before. So what I'm looking to go for right now is that we can see a divergence here on the 15-minute chart where price is making that W formation, which it's a very important trade and very high profitability trade that I take, which I look at M and W formations from a small perspective and a higher perspective. And we can see that there's a small divergence showing on that 15-minute chart. So I'm looking to go long if price breaks this previous area, which is 36.50, and I'm looking to go long to hold a position maybe to 37.50 or 37.75, which is going to be showing it consistent to where price did have that second zone drop. So that's my analysis on where I believe price is going for Bitcoin, and moving forward, that's how the formations I believe how price is going.
100%. And if we were to actually look at dominance, that's something I definitely want to cover during this live stream before we end this. By the way, guys, if you haven't liked the video already, make sure you guys like this video. It definitely helps us out to get more exposure, and it shows Brandon and I that you guys appreciate everything that we do. But let's go ahead and take a look at market dominance, because I saw something extremely interesting here that I want to point out to you guys here. Now, if we were to go ahead and pull up market dominance, this is really the coins that are currently dominating the market right now in regards to the full cryptocurrency market cap. And what you can see here is Bitcoin is pretty much maintaining itself between that 50 to 55% dominance. But what's most interesting here is we're starting to see other coins come in and dominate, and you can see here with Ethereum, once again, it's maintaining itself around that 10% mark, and it just took a slight rise in dominance. Now, in my opinion, if Bitcoin were to start dropping in dominance, we're going to start to see more opportunities in altcoins. Do I expect Bitcoin to rise in dominance? Most likely not. And the reason being is you can see here, it has not risen in dominance for a very long time. And in my opinion, in order for this market to see some sort of maturity, we're going to need to see dominance continue to increase alongside with these altcoins. Now, as you can see here with XRP specifically, and this is one I want you guys to notate, just coming here from September of 2018, XRP was around at 10% dominance, and then it dropped all the way down to around 8%. But now, if you look at where XRP is at, it is right above 10%, around 11%, and it looks like it's continuing to rise more than any other coin right now in regards to dominance when looking at altcoins. So if I were to pay attention to any coins right now, it would be Ripple and Bitcoin, being the fact that, as you can see, Ripple just took that #2 spot here from Ethereum, which is huge. So let's go ahead and see here. Naeem, let's see here. Did you hit your head somewhere? No, I didn't hit my head anywhere. Crypto Miracle says, thoughts on supply and demand curve. What's going on with the miners supply? Any resources to find the Bitcoin supply? Thank you, Naeem Al-Obeidi. Yes, there are a ton of websites that you can look, but here's what I would say in terms of, you know, how it works with the supply and demand curve. That's what we want to watch in regards to volume, because the volume is what's going to determine the supply and demand, right? So we understand Bitcoin has a limited quantity, but at the end of the day, if there aren't buyers in the market, then the demand isn't there. So if you want to really have a clear indicator of buyer demand and and supply, or even the sellers in the market, I would just focus on the volume. And that's why I mentioned earlier in the stream, you have to be careful in this market, like Brenton said, because of the fact that the sellers have the ability to control this market when they want, and there's a lot of manipulation. Brenton, could you talk a little bit about the manipulation in this market that you've seen in comparison to Forex, being that you're such an experienced and successful Forex trader, and now you're coming into the crypto market as you've become more involved with Traders Profit Club and myself, and I want you to just kind of give them a little bit of an understanding of the type of manipulation that we see in this market that isn't necessarily in other markets like the foreign exchange market.
Definitely. So market manipulation for crypto is a little different because the intrinsic value or the daily value is a little different. So it's a little less. So a lot of the times that a lot of institutions, so since the Bitcoin has been traded on the Chicago Market Exchange or the Mental Exchange, when we are able to trade on the public market, a lot of banking and institutions can now be able to move price at a high volatility and high value. So what happens is that this is an area where they're able to make, because of this huge market manipulation, they're able to trap buyers and sellers, and seeing where a lot of people's stop losses are made, where a lot of people's take profits, and a lot of people's areas of pending transactions or trailing stops. And this is what proprietary traders are looking to do, is where they're trying to implement trades so they know that there's going to be a scarcity. So what happens is they come out with huge breakouts, or they come out with consolidation areas as before. So the manipulation in this market is a little different because there's a lot more volatile spikes. And what I mean by volatile spikes is that there's a lot less time intervals when these volatile spikes are occurring. So in the Forex market, it's a little different because there's $5.4 trillion traded on the public market daily. So it has to go through a lot more checks and balances. But if we're in the crypto market, since there's a lot, not a lot less, but it's coming to a really high area of value per day, but it's not at the area where it's a lot where investment bankers and institutional traders can't just trade the markets and it will just go up and down with high volatile spikes. So what happens is that we can see here where price is showing tons of spikes to the upside and the downside. And these spikes aren't just made for any reason, you guys. They have pending orders here. People's orders for pending for sales, for stop losses, if trailing stop losses, or to open a trade, they're all here. So what they do is that they spike into that area. And if you guys know what a exposure is, or like to see a drawdown state. So in foreign exchange, there's a drawdown state where there's a percentage that you have to be able to get into before you're able to be in profit. So this is called a drawdown, or a percentage, a pip. So what happens is in the crypto markets is essentially the same, where a lot of traders are going to be into the market, but there's areas where a lot of pending orders are being set. So they're going to open these orders while they're consolidating with price, they're like hands. Think of them like little hands. They're grabbing these orders. So once they grab enough orders, they'll shift the price and they'll hit up all the stop losses that were long. And then eventually they'll do the same thing to the upside and they'll bring price to an area. So the way the market works is essentially off where the most pending orders are, where the most trailing stops are, where the most take profits are. And you'll know where price won't go into a certain area because there's a lot of take profits in that area. And they don't want to make you guys, they want essentially make you have enough money to keep playing the game, but not as much to be able to become prosperous or abundant. So what happens is that they'll then move price into certain areas, like as we can see right here. I know I can see that price is definitely moving to the upsides because we have two huge spikes to the downside, where I can see that price is being manipulated to gain all these seller positions. They're opening these selling pending orders, and then what they're going to do is consolidate price for a certain amount of time to build up enough liquidity, and then once they have enough, they're going to shift the price back to the upside to stop all the traders that were sold in this area. And that's why we see these little wicks and these volatile spikes, because they're spiking into pending orders, they're spiking into people's stop losses, they're spiking into people's trailing take profits. And this is the way that market manipulation happens, as well as in the crypto, or in the Forex market, excuse me, and as well as the options market as well. When we see short squeezes and we see a lot of trades that are being taken, or you can't get out of a trade because the market is being been driven to the downside for a lot. And if we even look at the S&P 500, then I'll take up that chart. Sorry if you guys
no, cover it, man. But
Okay.
while you're pulling up the S&P 500, we just got a question. Justin J says, Naeem, when will the trading course be released for our Patreon members? That will be releasing extremely soon. Once again, I'm going to be speaking to San Diego this weekend. Brandon's been working on the Forex course. I've been working on the crypto course, so that will be launching extremely soon. And we've got a ton of other stuff launching soon. I'm going to talk about what you're saying, Brandon, because I totally agree with you, man. You know, trading a $1 trillion market like the Forex market, and then coming from the crypto market, I feel like I went from such a hard market to such a predictable market. And that is actually proven here with our Forex signals. If you look at our Forex signals, I've been just doing our Forex signals here, and you can see tons of take profits here. Last Wednesday, right? 4 take profits here. If you go up here, you can see another take profit, frenzy that we've had here. You can see just tons of take profits coming in from our Forex signals. And so once again, if you guys are not part of our signal group, the link is in the description below. It's extremely important for you guys to have that help if you guys are new to this market. And then another question here, Naeem, when will the trading, what was the trading site you mentioned in which you trade crypto, stocks, and Forex? I'm actually going to be looking at other programs because I saw that and I realized that there was a huge margin when it comes to trading crypto on that. And so just hold off on that. If I were you, just utilize Binance for now, as well as MT4 for Forex and Binance for crypto. So go ahead and talk a little bit about what you wanted to go into, Brenton. By the way, guys, we're going to be wrapping this up as soon as Brenton is done. But subscribe to Brenton's channel. The link is in the description below. He goes live every single day, Monday through Friday, and you guys will learn a lot from his analysis and his philosophy. So go ahead and talk about what you want to talk about, the S&P 500, which is huge because we're seeing a huge market reversal right now with traditional markets. If you look at the NASDAQ, we've seen an over 20% drop, and talk about recession. We might already be in the process of that, right?
Yes, exactly. You're spot on, Naeem. Exactly what I was going to go over. So essentially, we're going into a recession, you guys, when it comes over. So as we can see that the market has been trending for a lot of reasons. And as you guys know that one of the wealthiest people in the world, Warren Buffett, his allocation is 90% S&P 500 index and 10% treasury bonds. So he is definitely going to be pulling the market out of the S&P 500 soon enough, because as you guys can see, we've been in a new paradigm. So this new paradigm, if we looked at the Fibonacci levels, so we have the 261.8, which it tests perfectly from the swing low as of 2008, right? So 2008 is when we had that huge crash, you guys, the subprime loan, the synthetic CDAs, and so forth. We had this huge market crash, and then we had a stimulation program which put trillions of dollars into the market in 2012, which then stimulated price and then moved price up higher and higher and higher, and then we had that price in value. So after we have a price in value, the market or our economy is supposed to be able to be on its own, right? It's like teaching a baby to walk, and then eventually the baby will subconsciously know how to walk itself, and then it'll just be able to live its life. But the thing about our market is that it's an enabler. We have an enabling system. As the Federal Reserve starts to be able to push a lot more money, we start to have higher inflation. And higher inflation means that we're not going to be able to have a product value to cost, and we're not going to be able to have our dollars not going to be worth a lot anymore. So what happens is that, as we can see, that this new paradigm was established, and I've gone over in our previous videos, and you guys can check them out in my videos, the 7-year cycle, where the 7-year cycle is essentially when the price goes up for a very long time, and then it consistently shows a spike to the high, showing that new paradigm. And then we have that bear trap. So right now we're essentially in the bear trap, where people are very skeptical. We have this spinning top, this huge spinning top of the 200 moving average, which show consistent value to go up to the upside. So once we see market value go back up to this 2,700 range, just back to normal stage, people are going to stop having that the fear stigma, right? They're going to get back to normal. But then they don't understand that once they have this this ease phase, that's when the market's going to take it down for the worst. So if you guys seen, I've shown pictures, and I have the pictures also in the Discord, where I show that the cycle of the market, where it comes into an area where there's a bear trap, and then it tries to return to normal, where then a lot of people, especially investment bankers and investment news, they say, oh, the market S&P 500 bounced back to normal. You'll see it on investors.com, Forex Factory, and so forth. That is essentially a lie, you guys. That's an illusion. It's market manipulation, because they're going to drive price to the downside in the S&P 500. And if the S&P 500 drops below 30%, we're essentially in a recession, you guys. If the market drops more than 30% in the next 6 to 8 months, we will be in a recession. So that's a huge thing for us to be able to allocate our funds, put it in different investment wheels, and be able to stay prosperous even in this downtime for the U.S. economy.
I love it. Thank you so much, Brandon, for adding your knowledge. Once again, his channel is in the link below in the description. And I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I want to start a conversation. Do you guys think we are heading into a recession or not? Say it in the comments, say it in the live chat. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Once again, if you guys haven't liked the video already, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Brenton's channel, check out Bitcoin gear if you guys want to get a Trezor hard wallet or any sort of merch. And then once again, and most importantly, get into our paid group so you guys can take advantage of all of our signals. We post all of our trades every single day. We have tons of members making profits. So thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this live stream. Did you guys enjoy this live stream? Say I on the chat if you did, if you want to shout out. Crypto Miracle says, depends on Trump, bro. I don't think Trump has much to do with the market right now in regards to what's happening. At the end of the day, market is crashing. It's 20% down, and that is, in my opinion, the start to a possible recession, as Brenton mentioned. Mitch says, I love it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys so much. Tons of new updates coming for our Traders Profit Club members. It is just the start. We have barely even launched. It's even been just a pre-launch at this point. And so we're going to be releasing our course extremely soon, so you guys can have the idea of how to not only trade crypto, but trade Forex as well. Roman, Mr. Santello, Metal Meltdown, Jorge Gomez, they all say I love it. So thank you guys all so much for tuning in today. And with that being said, I'm done for the day. I'm going to be heading to San Diego speaking at Epic Mastermind. We'll have our own mastermind here in LA, February 22nd. Brenton will be there alongside with me, most likely, because this is when he found out about it. So we'll see. We've been in a recession for a long time already. Ghost tax on products. I love it. Mitch says we need a recession before it gets any worse. I love it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Brenton, any final words?
No, thank you so much for bringing me along. I really appreciate it, Naeem. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I really appreciate that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys, and have a wonderful weekend.
Have a wonderful weekend, you guys.